Sometimes we're just as shocked or moved or energized by the news we cover as anyone would be. But by the time we share it, our initial reaction has settled a bit. But for these stories, we want you to learn about the news at the same time we do. Welcome to another installment of
And if you don't know, now you know. Ramses Ja.
Q-Ward.
Have you heard anything new with regards to workplace discrimination lately?
I know that Donald Trump has been signing a lot of stuff that is repealing all of our progress that we've made as a country and so forth, but I haven't heard about anything specific to workplace discrimination.
Well, let me give you something with a little less broad.
Okay.
Less broad than that. From the BIN.
All right.
President Donald Trump has revoked a decades-old executive order designed to combat workplace discrimination by federal contractors. On Wednesday, January 22nd, Trump nuked Executive Order 11246, which prohibited discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, national origin, sex, sexual orientation, or gender identity in federal hiring, per the Huffington Post. This bill, signed a year after the Civil Rights Act was passed, the landmark labor standard dated back to Lyndon B. Johnson's presidency. The rule explicitly required federal employees to take affirmative action to not discriminate against job applicants or workers. Trump on Wednesday attacked the longtime labor standard as radical DEI. The president noted that the Labor Department would be prohibited from pushing contractors to balance their workforce based on race, sex, gender identity, sexual preference, or religion. Trump described his order to revoke the rule as the most important federal civil rights measure in decades. Forgive me, but it's hard to read that and not laugh. As of Wednesday, the Labor Department called Johnson's executive order a historic step towards equal employment opportunity and a major safeguard for millions of workers, per its website. Signed by President Johnson, that early autumn Friday in 1965, Executive Order 11246 became a key landmark in a series of federal actions aimed at ending racial, religious, and ethnic discrimination, an effort that dated back to the ancient days before the U.S. was thrust into World War II, the site reads. Judy Conte of National Employment Law Project Worker Advocacy Group said Trump nuked a key tool in combating workplace discrimination. This is not a return to so-called meritocracy, Conte said in a statement. Rather, it's an attempt to return to days when people of color, women, and other marginalized people lacked tools to ensure they were evaluated on their merits. Ramses Ja. Oh, happy day.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I know you were being facetious, of course. You know what's so crazy is that this is the very thing that Dr. King was marching for. The very thing that Dr. King was marching for. This is the very thing that he was fighting for. And I'm assuming this was the first or second day in office. Donald Trump repealed it.
Expeditiously, some may say.
Right. Of course, this doesn't surprise me. I mean, I know that the thinking the thinking is racism, but the veneer of plausibility that it creates some concern for straight, Christian, healthy, white men, the concern for those people, or the veneer of concern, is that by having racial quotas, sex quotas, sexual orientation quotas, that you discriminate against the most qualified people. And again, that is not a real thing. It's just how they frame their conversation so that they can at least attempt to appear like somewhat decent folk who are pursuing something that is equal.
And very important to point out, no such quotas exist.
No, not at all.
And rolling back civil rights bills as we celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. is a exceptional level of nastiness. Like,
I honestly, I didn't know that. I knew that this type of thing was coming, but each time another little tidbit makes its way to me, it's like, man, I didn't even know that was a thing that was on the menu for these guys. Like, they're taking everything. Like, why is this important? Who benefits from it? Who is this hurting? Like, it feels like they're doing it just to be cruel. Like,
it's like he hired a task force and their only job was to find things that help black, brown, gay, Muslim, woman, find specific things that help them and get rid of them. Not find things that hurt us. He didn't say, hey, find things that hurt white, straight, Christian men. No, find things that help everyone else and get rid of them.
That's what it feels like.
Because it wouldn't be as offensive, Rams, if they were just making things better for themselves, because that's what they've always done. Mm-hmm. It's the extra step of making things harder for everyone else that makes it especially cruel. Because we both hear people in the comments and in real life telling us, man, politicians, that's just how they get down. Sure, politicians go to DC, they get elected by their constituents, they run on these promises that they don't keep for a plethora of reasons, but they don't keep them. And they somehow amass wealth for themselves while they do it. Sure. But this is especially different because you have a group that's going out of their way, not just to not help you,
but to harm you.
Yeah. And they still have your support.
That's the part that's
someone said diabolical. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the part that's crazy to me, is that they still have the support of the people.
Yeah.
Like, they're,
even if the majority didn't vote for them, 70 million people did.
But here's the part that I think that just it boggles my mind, that there are black people that okay, how about this? If you're a black person in this country and you think that what Donald Trump has done with this executive order and all the rest of the executive orders, but this one in particular, that removes civil rights protections because you can get it on your own and black people should be able to get it on our own, whatever. If that's what your thinking is, or whatever your thinking is, doesn't matter. I have to assume that you feel like you know better than Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And if you feel that way, then I would expect you to have some experience organizing, some experience in activism, some experience, or at least an educational background that would put you on the same level as a Dr. King, to champion not just the man that would sign this executive order, but to still be on that, like, yeah, man. And for you to think that this is the right thing, given the country's history, this is the right thing for your people, if you are a black person who still supports this man. Like, you probably don't see it, but you're the bad guy. You're the Uncle Tom. You don't, not those of us that were, on the Democrat plantation or whatever nonsense you've been talking about. He actually took away civil rights that Dr. Martin Luther King marched for. How can you explain that in a way that makes any sense?
You have been duped. You lost the plot. You are the bad guy. You need to fix that, because you're still going to be black tomorrow, and you still got to walk down this street, and you need to get on board with whatever plan we come up with of how to combat this. And if you cannot say with any, based on any long form research, I'm talking years long, scholarly research, that this is the right plan and what Dr. King was marching for was wrong, based on years of scholarly research and activism and organizing, maybe a career in politics, maybe some time in a pulpit. If you stand on that and then you're still on this with, flying in the face of what Dr. King stood for, and you've reconciled the fact that this country's history has shown us and is showing us again now that black people are not even, it's not even that we're not a priority. They would rather us be relegated to the bottom.
They've gone out of their way to make sure.
So how in the world, black person that voted for Donald Trump, and it's black men, because y'all infuriate me. You think that you're if you think you're smarter than Ramses, you think you're smarter than Q. Maybe I know some black men that are smart. They're not as well informed, but what little tidbits they have, they don't work in this space. They don't have to dissect all of this stuff. They don't have to do the reading that I have to do to prepare and produce these shows, to do our radio show, and to make sure that our programs can withstand the scrutiny and all the stuff that the right wing would throw at us to try to pick us apart. They don't do that stuff. I've been doing it for years right here, and you don't. You might have read a couple of articles and talked to the homie who been in jail and got some attention because he was like, yeah, maybe Trump's up.
Oh, even worse, a meme on Instagram, or a well-produced YouTube video from somebody who also has no idea what they're talking about. Exactly.
But if that's you and you think that you got more on this than I do, I will give that to you. But Dr. King, and he wasn't the only one, I promise you, but Dr. King marched for these civil rights, and the person that you just elected signed an executive order on his first day or second day in office, whatever. I didn't get that from the article, or I don't remember it from the article. And I'm just seeing this for the first time.
We only on day 2, so it had to be.
Well, there you go.
It had to be day, I guess we're on day 3 now. So, and I'm guessing this was today.
Okay. Well,
again, high on his priority list. Not y'all's grocery prices down.
That wasn't
like he promised.
Nope. You go to the store and pay for your eggs right now. See where his priorities are. But listen, of course, the show is open to anybody who wants to provide a response, to provide some insight to, this is meant to be a conversation. But I'm particularly interested today in black people that voted for Donald Trump. What say ye now that we have our civil rights protections that were paid for in blood?
A man was assassinated fighting to make life a little bit better for us. And this dude spits in his face and y'all still gonna rock with him.
I couldn't have said it better. If you got something to say, you know how to say it. Use the red microphone talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app. You can hit me at Ramses John on all social media.
I am Q Ward on all social media as well.
And if you don't got nothing to say, then I know that means that you're ashamed of yourself, and rightfully so. Get it together. Until we talk.
Peace.
This has been a production of the Black Information Network. Today's show was produced by Chris Thompson. Have some thoughts you'd like to share? Use the red microphone talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app. While you're there, be sure to hit subscribe and download all of our episodes. I am your host, Ramses Ja, on all social media.
I am Q Ward on all social media as well.
And join us tomorrow as we share our news with our voice from our perspective, right here on the Black Information Network Daily Podcast.